This is Real Talk, Real Faith inside Soulful Sister Sanctuary. I am your host, Zaria Grace. This space is for grown women who love God, carry a lot on their shoulders, and are ready to live lighter. Here, we talk about why we feel the way we do and how to move with peace, clarity, and faith that feels steady. We're going to keep it real. We drop the mask and we lay it down so that God can lift it up. Take what fits, leave what doesn't, but don't ignore what hits. Now let's begin. I want to start this episode honestly. This is not one of those topics where I'm sitting here like, ladies, let me tell y'all what y'all need to do. Nah, sis. This one has my name all over it. So pull up a chair and let me give you the tea. Lately, I've been noticing something in myself. I've been more irritable, more snappy, more frustrated. And not always over the big things. Sometimes it is the little stuff. Somebody needing something from me when I have mentally clocked out for the day, a noise in the house, a cabinet left open, a sock on the floor. And I'm sitting here thinking like, now, why did that just make me want to call a whole family meeting? Because the reaction did not match the situation. At first, I really didn't catch it. I just thought, I'm just tired. I'm overwhelmed. People are getting on my nerves. But sometimes people are getting on your nerves. Sometimes the people are, in fact, just peopling. But after a while, I had to pause and pay attention. I started noticing my patience felt thinner. My tolerance felt lower. My emotions felt closer to the surface. Things that I used to brush off were starting to sit on me differently. Then in walks the guilt, because I would snap and then feel bad. I would get frustrated, then think, why did I just respond like that? I would get irritable, then judge myself for being irritated. And if you're a woman of God, you already know that guilt hits differently. Because you not only question your mood, you start questioning your whole walk with God. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I believe a lot of women are silently asking the same question. I love God, but why am I so irritable? Why am I so snappy? Why does my body feel tired even when I want to show up? Why do I feel like I'm becoming somebody I don't even recognize? And maybe the answer is not as simple as, girl, just calm down. Or you need to stop having an attitude. Or maybe you just need to take it to God. Because some of us have already been praying. We've already been reading our Bible and trying to be patient and not say the first thought that comes to our mind. And honestly, sometimes that right there is growth. Sometimes the Holy Spirit has to catch the first draft before it leaves your mouth. But maybe some of us are in a season where our bodies are changing. Our hormones are shifting, our sleep is off, and our capacity is very different. And we may not have had the language for what is happening. Now, I want to be clear from the beginning. Hormones do not give us the permission to mistreat people. They do not give us permission to just be reckless with our words. They don't give us permission to snap at everybody and say, well, I'm hormonal, so take it up with the Lord. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That is not wisdom. That is not self-control. That is not fruit. That is everybody in the house walking on eggshells while you call it your season. And we are not doing that. No, ma'am. But hormones can give us information. And sometimes information is what keeps us from living in shame. Because maybe nothing is wrong with your faith. Maybe your body is trying to tell you something. So today we're going to break this down. We're going to talk about irritability, hormones, faith, and wisdom. Because biology can explain the struggle, but wisdom teaches us how to respond. We need both. We need grace and responsibility. Some women used to feel more patient, more steady, or even more energetic. They used to be able to handle more noise, more questions, more demands, more people needing them. But now, the smallest little things feel like it is just too much. The kids may ask one more question and your whole body says, absolutely not. Your husband says something simple and somehow it lands as criticism. You get invited somewhere and even though a part of you wants to go, your body is saying, baby, we are just not leaving this house today. Not today. And then we start shoulding on ourselves. I should be past this. I should be more mature. I should be grateful, more loving, and more patient. And I want to slow this down. Some of us have been taught to spiritualize everything before we understand anything. We call it attitude before we ask about being tired. We call it bitterness before we ask about grief. We call it irritability before we ask about our hormones. And I'm not saying that hormones are the reason for everything. They're not. Sometimes it's stress, resentment, anxiety, depression, trauma, or even poor boundaries. Sometimes it's years of overfunctioning, ignoring your limits. So no, everything is not hormones, but hormones may be a part of what you have not considered. For many women, especially in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, real changes may be happening in your body. Perimenopause can start years before menopause. And during that season, your hormones can shift and fluctuate. Those hormones not only affect your cycle, they can affect sleep, mood, memory, your energy levels, your anxiety, libido, and even the way your body responds to stress. So when a woman says, I just do not feel like myself, she really may not be exaggerating. Her body may not be responding the way that it used to. Her sleep may not be restoring her the way that it used to. Her patience may be thinner because her system is already under pressure. And when a woman doesn't have language for what is happening in her body, she may turn it into shame. She may say, I'm just mean, I'm just impatient, I'm just failing. But what if she's not failing? What if she is just changing? What if God is not asking her to ignore her body, but to steward it with wisdom? Your body is not separate from your spiritual life. Your body is not an inconvenience to your faith. God did not create you as a floating spirit with no nervous system, no hormones, no sleep needs, no physical limits, and no body. You are embodied. You love, you serve, you worship, and you make decisions through a body. So if your body is depleted, sleep deprived, or hormonally shifting, It is going to affect the way that you experience life. And again, that doesn't mean that your faith is weak. It means that your body needs attention. And some of us have spent so many years ignoring the body and then wondering why we feel so disconnected. We've been ignoring the fatigue, the sleep problems, mood swings, brain fog, and the fact that we don't feel like ourselves. Then we call ourselves dramatic when our body finally gets loud. What if the irritability is not something to shame, but it's actually something to be aware of? Most of us were taught how not to listen to our bodies. We were taught to push through, you keep going, you serve anyway, you fix it, you show up, you say yes. And for a lot of women, we have attached holiness to exhaustion. We have attached goodness to being needed. We have attached love to overextending. There is a difference between being gentle and being silent, being loving and being depleted. And this is where I want to challenge us. Some of us are not just hormonal. Some of us are also undersupported, overcommitted, overstimulated, resentful, and tired. Some of us are irritated because we've been so available to everybody, but absent from ourselves. And our hormones, they're only making that louder. Hormonal changes may lower your tolerance. But sometimes the hormone shift is not creating the whole problem. Sometimes it's actually revealing the problem. It may be revealing how little margin you have, how much pressure you're under, how long you have ignored yourself, and where your peace was built on silence instead of real support. So the goal is not to say, I'm hormonal, everybody, so just deal with it. The goal is to say, something is happening in me, and I need to respond with wisdom. That is a grown woman of God response. Not denial, not shame, not blame. Honesty, wisdom, repair, and stewardship. Your body may be going through a transition, but the people you love should not have to keep guessing which version of you is going to walk into the room today. And I say that with love because sometimes we want grace without responsibility. We want people to understand us, but we don't want to communicate. We want our family to be patient with us, but we don't want to repair after we snap. And that is where the work begins. When you become honest enough to say, listen, I am noticing something changing within me. I am more irritable than usual. My patience is thinner. My sleep is not good. My body feels different. I need to talk to my doctor. I need to tell the truth instead of reacting. That is wisdom. And I want to speak to the woman who feels guilty because she's even snappy. You can take responsibility without drowning yourself in shame. You can say, I shouldn't have said it that way, without saying, I'm a terrible person. That's the voice of shame. You can say, my body is going through something, without using that as an excuse. That is maturity. Because guilt can either lead you into repair or trap you in self-punishment. And some of us are not actually repairing. We're just feeling bad. There is a difference. Feeling bad says, I can't believe I did that. Repair says, I see how that affected you and I want to handle it differently. Feeling bad says, what is wrong with me? Repair says, I'm learning what is happening in me so that I don't keep putting this on you. Repair brings love back into the room. So the next time you notice yourself getting irritated, maybe the move is not to immediately just shame yourself. Maybe the move is just to pause and ask, what is happening in my body right now? Am I tired, hungry, overstimulated? Could this be hormonal? That pause matters. Because irritability is the body's alarm system. It's the body saying, I'm at capacity. I need to change something. One of the most practical things that we can do is start naming what is happening before it turns into damage. It can be something as simple as, I'm really tired right now. I'm not trying to shut you out. I just need to regulate before I talk. That language matters because it lets the people around you know that I'm not abandoning a responsibility. I'm becoming aware. And if you're married, your spouse may not even know what is happening. All he may see is that you're quieter, colder, less patient, more distant, or even more frustrated. If you do not have the language, a lot of times they will make up their own story. Maybe she doesn't like me anymore. I can't do anything right. She's always angry. And maybe that's not the whole truth. Maybe you're not trying to reject them. Maybe you're trying to survive your own internal discomfort. But love requires communication. And if you have children, repair can be simple. I answered that too sharply. That's not your fault. I need a minute, then we can talk. That teaches them that feelings are real, but they don't have to rule the house. And for the woman who serves in church, helps, leads, and carries everyone else, hear this. You do not get extra credit for ignoring your body. You do not become more spiritual by pretending that you are fine. You do not honor God by running yourself into the ground and then resenting everybody who needs you. Because your body is not the enemy of your calling. Your body is part of what carries your calling. And if you keep ignoring your body, eventually your body will start making decisions for you. It will affect your mood, your relationships, your ability to show up, your ability to enjoy your own life. So maybe part of obedience in this season is not doing more. Maybe part of obedience is listening sooner. Maybe it is sleeping instead of scrolling. Because we'll be exhausted talking about, Lord, restore me. And God is like, boo, I tried. You done watched 4 videos, checked 3 comments, and looked at somebody's vacation pictures instead of going to sleep. Sometimes the miracle is not deep. Sometimes it's putting the phone down, drinking water, eating real food, and saying, I need a minute before your tone starts doing a ministry in the wrong direction. Maybe part of obedience is saying no. Maybe it's admitting, I can't carry everything the way that I used to. And baby, that sentence can be hard. Because there is grief in realizing that you cannot keep operating the same way. There is grief in realizing that your body is changing. What used to work doesn't anymore. And the old version of you may not be coming back in the exact same way. But different doesn't mean worse. Aging doesn't mean invisible. Needing support doesn't mean weak. This is not the end of your womanhood. This is a transition in your womanhood. And maybe God is not asking you to become who you used to be. Maybe he's inviting you to become more wise, more grounded, more supported, more truthful, or more whole. Because sometimes we're trying to get back to a version of ourselves that was only functioning because she ignored herself. Maybe the old you was exhausted. Maybe this season is not just taking something from you. Maybe it is exposing what can no longer come with you. The overfunctioning cannot come. The constant yes cannot come. The shame cannot come. And the belief that a godly woman should never be tired, angry, or in need of support can't come either. Because that was never the goal. The goal was never to be a woman who feels nothing. The goal is to become a woman who can tell the truth, bring it to God, seek wisdom, and respond with maturity. Now, I want to be careful with this next part because I don't want this to become another message where we slap scripture over a real struggle and tell women to go pray about it. Don't get me wrong. Don't stop praying. Praying is important. But prayer does not cancel wisdom, rest, medical care, honest conversations, or learning your body. So let me make this practical. First, start tracking what you're noticing. Your sleep patterns, your mood, your cycle if you still have one, hot flashes or night sweat, brain fog, and anxiety. Because sometimes we cannot see patterns because we're too busy surviving them. Next, talk to your medical provider. Ask, could this be perimenopause? Could this be hormonal, thyroid related, sleep related, depression, anxiety, or something else? Don't become a Google doctor and do not dismiss yourself either. Get information. Third, communicate before you explode. Say what is happening sooner. That is emotional leadership. And finally, repair quickly. When you do snap, own it. Don't over-explain or make a speech or blame everybody. Just repair. So maybe the prayer for this season is not, Lord, make me who I used to be. But maybe the prayer is, Lord, teach me how to steward the woman that I am becoming. Teach me how to listen to my body without being ruled by it. Teach me to ask for help without shame. Because maybe nothing is wrong with your faith. Maybe your body is just asking for attention. And maybe this is the season where you stop shaming yourself and start paying attention. Now, before you go, unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, and take one slow, delicious breath in and out. You have carried enough for today. God never asked you to be everything for everyone. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say no. And you are allowed to be cared for. Strong doesn't mean silent, and burnout is not holy. Let's lay it down so that God can lift it up, and I will see you inside the sanctuary.